Once Shamara Didi said, Gurudev, just now we are slowly realizing Swami Prabhupada books. It's so much. The one life is not enough. How we can give your books to people? And he said, hey, I'm giving for everyone. Each door have to go my books. So, really we are very small. I myself. We have this great opportunity to hanging to his feet and just try to follow what he said, what he give us. He gave it a lot. But I don't know this. We born Kali Yuga and we have Kali Yuga qualities and we focus so many on other things. But at least Gurudev came this time and give us for we wake up and look what he wants. He said just follow me, read and chant. But yes, we please him only. I please him for give me more chance, more opportunity, more easy to serve him. He's happy. I can't say many things. I want to sing one song. I think everyone knows, and this is also Gurudev's song. I have chashma, old age. And Gurudev also told, old age will come and knock you, hug you. This is like chashma. I will sing small song. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Kripa Bina Nahi Koi Sadhana Bal, Kripa Bina Nahi Koi Sadhana Bal, Bhajamana Bhaja Anukshan, Jamana Bhaja Anukshan, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Kamala Bhajaman, Milata nahi aisa Dulabh janama, milata nahi aisa Dulabh janama, Bhimatahu chauda bhuvan, Bhimatahu chauda bhuvan, milata nahi aisa Dulabh janama, Bhimatahu chauda bhuvan, Bhimatahu chauda bhuvan. किसी को मिलता है अहोभाग्य से, किसी को मिलता है अहोभाग्य से, हरि भक्त के दर्शन, कृष्ण कृपा की आनंद मूर्ति, आनंद मूर्ति, दीन जन करुणा निधान, दीन जन करुणा निधान, कृपा की आनंद मूर्ति, दीन जन करुणा निधान, दीन जन करुणा निधान,
Bhakti Bhava Prema Tina Prakasata Bhakti Bhava Prema Tina Prakasata Shri Guru Patita Pavan Shri Guru Patita Pavan Shri Smriti Purana Mahi Kinos Pasta Brahman Kinos Pasta Brahman Mahi Kinos Pasta Brahman Kinos Pasta Brahman Tana Mamana Jivana Kurupada Arpana Amana Jivana Kurupada Arpana Sadashi Harinamaratan Mamana Vihatan Tanamana Jivana Kurupada Arpana Sadashi Sadashi Harinamaratan Harinamaratan Shri Guru Charana Kamala Padaman Shri Guru Charana Kajaka Ajaman. I please everyone bless me for I do more Guru Seva. Dhanyavad Pranam Tadavada Panchakarpadar Vishya.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Jnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Jnanatirmirandasya. For my please excuse me, I'm a little nervous. Please, I offer my unlimited Dandava Pranams at the dust of the lotus feet of my Gurudev. Om Jnanatirmirandasya. Wait.
Okay.
I know, right? It happens to the best of us. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Wait. What is my Guru's? Wait. Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Shata Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Madhava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. In the dust of the lotus feet of our Srila Gurudev. So, as you can tell, I'm getting the nervous butterflies out of my system real quick. So, I don't normally say things because I like to pass it off to senior devotees during these moments, but as nobody was raising their hand, my Gurudev, my heart was like, if you don't say something, I'll chastise you. So, here I am. Glorifying Srila Gurudev is an unlimited thing, just as chanting Harinam is an unlimited, overwhelming process, where we first come into Krishna consciousness and we think that we are making such nice advancement, and we chant the names and we get some taste, and then we get into Sadhu Sangha and we're getting so excited and so happy, our advancement, our advancement, our advancement. And then all of a sudden Maya's like, do you really want to go back to Krishna? So I'm going to start testing you and giving you your karma as quickly as possible. And then we meet a guru like Srila Gurudev, who I've only met through his books and in the hearts of his devotees. But you can tell that there's someone holding us, guiding us by the hand, and taking us back home, and giving us like a practical method for something that's beyond this world. We can't even understand it, right? As it's not something we can see through our senses. Now, again, I came through this whole Hare Krishna movement by Prabhupada's mercy. If you guys know some of my story, I basically was directed to go to a Goodwill, which is a store in the US. It's like a thrift store, and closed my eyes, put my hands along the books, stopped, and it was Chant Be Happy by Prabhupada. And I just started chanting. And I chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra without knowing anything about devotees for 5 years. It was just I liked the mantras and I did it as a practice. Well, 3 years later, I was with a Prabhupada disciple, Sannyas disciple, and through serving him, I was inspired to go to Hawaii one day. Had never been, had no connections whatsoever. It was just something that happened. And that was my first Sadhu Sangha, for real. And it was Srila Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja's Sangha in Hawaii, which, if you've ever been, it's amazing out there. They do such wonderful kirtans, so much, they have like 8 to 15 cows, depending on where they're at with their cows. So it's constant milk prasad, dairy prasad, it's delicious, and it's Hawaii. So when I was out there, I didn't know anything about Gurudev, because the disciple of Prabhupada that taught me was more or less a Ritvik. So he told me, don't go to this Srila Gurudev disciple or this Sangha, don't go there, because they don't know what they're talking about, they're Sahajya, they're this, they're that. And as soon as I go out there, I see they're glorifying Prabhupada and they're glorifying Srila Gurudev. And then I go into the teachings of Srila Gurudev, and when you read Prabhupada's books, we're taught by his disciples that Prabhupada is always in his books and he's the father. And then we meet, when we go to Srila Gurudev Sanghas, that he is the mother, he's the father and the mother, or they're the father and the mother of ISKCON, nonetheless. But he's the mother, he's the one that guides you with his heart. He's in the heart of all of his devotees. So you can have Prabhupada's darshan in his books. But with Gurudev, although he's in his books as well, as all acharyas are, you're meeting him through all of his devotees. And the strength of a guru is, you can see it in his devotees, his disciples. The way that they, you can go anywhere. A Gurudev disciple is going to be nishta in their rounds, or fixed in whatever part of their service that they are fixed in. So some are amazing in the kitchen, and they can whip up the nicest prasad you'll ever honor. Some are fixed in their rounds, and you won't be able to talk to them for more than 5 minutes. My Gurudev is one of them. I served him for 2 months, and he does 64 rounds to maybe 96 rounds. He doesn't want to talk to me at all until he's done with all that. And to me, someone who's barely doing 16 to 20 rounds at the time, I was honored but blown away. Everyone's saying you got to get to 64 rounds. We're told, how are we going to get to 64 rounds? We're thinking of this every single day. We got to eat, we got to read, we got to study. I'm trying to learn mridanga, like all these different things to try to fit into a day, and do 64 rounds on top of that. Wake up at 4 in the morning every single day, go to bed at night, not worry about Maya and all these things on our phone. And then every single day we have Gaudiya Rasamrit on WhatsApp sending us lectures, and you want to listen to every one of those lectures while also attending Hari Katha. But the reason I'm saying all these things, so our acharyas, the 6th Gosvāmī, 7th Gosvāmī, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they have written so many books, so many songs, given us so much guidance, so much love, so much presence, and it's sometimes mythical to think of because it's so far away. Even only 500 years ago, still so far away. But then we have someone like Srila Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, who just a few generations ago for me, or a generation ago, but many of you met him and saw him and experienced that presence. I have it through my Gurudev and again through you disciples, but it's otherworldly to see something. It makes it much more simple to understand and realize that the 6 Gosvāmīs were real. And what they did was real. Because if somebody like him, who has written 100 books, and they're still being translated after his enter into Nitya Lila, he's written all these beautiful songs, or these verses, or inspired so many incredible disciples. I mean, from him, 5 different branches are now prominent in Vrindavan. And each of them have their own specialty and their own love and their own safe place, safe haven for all different types of devotees. So, when it comes to me being as fallen as I am, scatterbrained and nervous, I know that sitting here glorifying him is enough shelter for me to maintain what I'm doing every single day, knowing that even if I don't know any verses, I memorized like 10. And I know he told me Grihas should memorize a minimum of 25, and that's okay. I want to be much more than that, but still. I barely know any songs. I barely know how to play any instruments, but I do know that when I'm in his shelter, the shelter of his disciples, that everything is okay. I'm inspired. I know that I'm improving every single day, and it's amazing that even though I can't see him physically, I could still feel his presence every single day. And being in the Dham, it's just like another compound of magnanimous love that you're overwhelmed with. You kind of feel like you're being overtaken. I mean, I see Shamarani Didi's paintings. So, Prabhupada and Gurudev were father and mother of ISKCON. But Champakalata, my wife, and I, her Gurudev is Shamarani Didi. That's my mother. And my father is Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, who's both of them disciples of Srila Gurudev. So my mother and father are also now part of this as well. And I serve both of them every day, although my Gurudev likes to chastise me a lot, as many of you may have known. I'm useless, is what he basically tells everybody and me, and that's okay, because I know that one story, I'll try to wrap it up. How much time do I have left? 1 minute? Okay. So there's this teaching while I was on tour. One of the major things that I was used as an example of was that I can take a beating from my Gurudev in front of people. And the reason he brought this up, so Srila Gurudev was being served by my Gurudev in a setting, I want to say it was in India somewhere, and some devotees came up. They weren't disciples yet, but they're asking, why are you being so harsh on my Gurudev? You're saying all these mean things, apparently. And, excuse me. It eventually got to a point, just to make it quick, that Srila Gurudev told them that my Gurudev can be chastised much harder than most other people, because they would leave if they were chastised this badly, if you will. And there's only 2, Srila Gurudev in this story, I heard that only 2 disciples that could be chastised as much as my Gurudev and this other brahmachari. And the reason is because they have so much nishta for their guru. They have so much attachment, so much love. Every time they hear those chastisements, they feel love, pain, separation. And I have to say, my Gurudev says, you're good for, and I have to say nothing. You're bad at, and I have to say everything. And this is in front of crowds of hundreds of people, and I'm just standing up and looking at everyone. And and I'm saying this because we know that Srila Gurudev can be so soft and so sweet and such a flower, but my godbrother, Satyaraj, once said that he would see the disciples, his godbrothers, try to run up to Srila Gurudev to give pranams, but they would do it from 100 meters away and immediately turn their back and run away, because that was the thunderbolt that Srila Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja was. So thank you for allowing me to speak and glorify Srila Gurudev. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Now we'll hear from Chandra.
Now it's time to fall asleep with the pillows up. Amkinat Mandasha Gananjana Salakaya Chakshimalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnubhadaya Radhikaya Priyapane Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇeti Namane Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadbhaktaye Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Shri Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before I begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances. I offer my heart like flowers at the dust of lotus feet of my Gurudev, Nitya-lila Vishnu-Vishnu-pad, Astotara Sata, Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And at the same time, I offer my Koti Dandavat Pranams, the dust of the lotus feet of my Param Gurudevs, Nitya-lila Vishnu-Vishnu-pad, Astotara Sata, Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja, Prabhupada, and Nitya-lila Vishnu-Vishnu-pad, Astotara Sata, Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, headed by, and all assembled devotees, headed by Sripad Padmanabha Mahārāja, and all senior Vaishnavas, please accept my Dandavat Pranams. And everyone here, please accept my Dandavat Pranams. So, we've gathered together today on this most auspicious day. It's the Vyasa Puja or Avibhav Titi of Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nitya-lila Vishnu-Vishnu-pad Astotara Sata Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So, actually, I'm not so prepared to speak. This morning I had 3 showers. One is Mangalati time, and another is in the kitchen with the mixies. All the soup was going all over me. And the other is the nectar of Harikatha that everyone has been speaking. So that's the best shower. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he said that the appearance and disappearance day of any Guru and Vaishnavas from this world are more auspicious than the appearance day of Bhagavan himself. Why is that? Because on our platform, it's not so easy to directly reach Bhagavan. But Guru and Vaishnavas are so merciful, being sent by Bhagavan, that they come down to our platform in which we can reach, and they engage us in so many different types of services. So, actually, how can we serve Guru and Vaishnavas when they disappear from this world? We can serve them by contemplating all their qualities, their teachings and the example that they gave to this world. So on this day we can try to deeply meditate on what were the teachings that our beloved Gurudev gave to us. He gave so many teachings. So we know that Gurudev, he said, this day is Vyasa Puja, Guru Puja. So what is the meaning of Guru Puja? Guru Puja is not just simply offering flowers and gifts and all kinds of things at the lotus feet of our Gurudev. But no, it's to offer our very hearts, our very souls, our everything to our Gurudev. And not only that, but Vyasa Puja, this day, it's for developing this Vishvambena Guru Seva. What is Vishvamba? Vishvamba means great intimacy, to develop such a love and affection and attachment to the lotus feet of Shri Guru in such a way that we don't have any awe and reverence, we don't have any mood of Aishvarya. And it's like also one has such a deep intimate relationship that the disciple and the Guru become like bosom friends. But this is very rare. So actually Gurudev said, it's that feeling that Gurudev loves me so much and he has accepted me as his child. So parents, they love all their children, even if one of their children is ugly or doesn't have so many good qualities, he's not so intelligent, then still the mother and father will love that child so much. So in the same way, Guru, he has such a love for his disciples that it can be said to be more than hundreds and thousands of mothers in this world. Motherly love is the topmost. A mother loves her child so much, she will do anything for her child. But can you imagine, the Guru has so much love for his disciple. It's more than hundreds and thousands of mothers put together. So Guru means light and Ru means darkness, we know. So that Guru means one who brings one from darkness of ignorance, darkness of this material world, to the light of bhakti, the light of the spiritual world. But Guru meaning light. What is light? Light also means life, because actually without sunlight no one would have any life in this world. We would all be dead. So Guru is giving this light, he's giving us life actually. Just like we hear in Chaitanya Lila that once there was a boy, and young boy, he was bitten by a snake, and very poisonous black snake. So in India, the parents, family members, they won't burn a body of someone who's been bitten by a snake, but they will put in the river. So they put him in the river, Ganges, and what happened that very morning, when this dead body of the boy was floating down the river, then this associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, called Saranga, Gurudev, he came, and actually he was given the instruction from Mahaprabhu that you should accept a disciple, and he didn't want, because he was so humble, he didn't feel himself qualified, but he said, okay, I'll accept the first person I see. So the first person he saw happened to be this dead boy floating down the river. So then he picked him up out the river, and he immediately accepted him like his son, his disciple, and he gave the Diksha mantras in his ear. So as soon as the Diksha mantras entered that boy's ears, he immediately came to life. He was dead, completely dead, but he came to life. So we can understand that when Guru gives us Harinam and Diksha, it's like he's giving us life, he's giving us Dibya Gyan, he's giving us transcendental knowledge, he's giving us Maya Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Guru Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva, all kinds of tattvas, not just like theoretical knowledge, but he's giving us that realization. That Dibya Gyan means transcendental realization in the heart. So Gurudev wanted to give that to his disciples, and Gurudev, he gave us so many teachings, he gave us so many books. He gave us this teaching, who is real Guru? Actually, we cannot say that anyone who professes to be a guru, then they are real guru. No. Gurudev said, Tasmat Guru Prabhadyata Digna Soshe Uttama Shabde Parachanishnatam Brahmanapas Samashram, that they should have these three qualifications. They should be realized in all Tattvasiddhanta, all conclusions of Shastra. They should also be completely materially detached, and they should be realized in Krishna. And also Gurudev gave this teaching, Anyabalasita Sanyam Jnana Kamanavatam. What is the meaning of pure bhakti? And he named his society International Society for Pure Bhakti. So Gurudev gave us also Sambandha Gyan. So he explained, actually one day we were in Bath at Pudara Prabhu's place. There was Pudara Prabhu was hosting Gurudev, and there was programs going on there, and Gurudev would go for his morning walk, and then one day he came back from his morning walk, and he sat, and all devotees came around him, and he started asking the question, okay, so what is your relationship with Vrishabhana Maharaj? And devotees were like, oh, I don't know, that's Radharani's father. And Gurudev said, no, you should see that Vrishabhana Maharaj is your father. Then, why? Because we have that sambandha with Srimati Radhika. So, her father is our father also, as dasis of Srimati Radhika. Who is Gitida Sundari? Oh, she is your mother. And who is Ananga Manjari? Who is Sridham Saka? Oh, Ananga Manjari is your sister, and Sridham Saka is your brother. So Gurudev was giving us this Sambandha Gyan, telling us, but also gradually giving us that in the heart. So finally Gurudev always said to everyone, don't be hopeless. We have to have this hope, even though our goal is very high and maybe we have no qualification whatsoever, but we should go on practicing. We should practice very sincerely and try to chant in a very deep way with this Sambandha Gyan, because if we don't chant with Sambandha Gyan, if we don't chant knowing our relationship with Guru, knowing our relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, knowing our relationship with Radha and Krishna, at least knowing, maybe we haven't realized that yet, but gradually we will realize if we go on chanting this way. And finally, Gurudev said, if you want to get rid of lust, anger, and all anarthas, you cannot get rid of them by your own endeavor. No. it's not possible for us. So, but if we have high-class sadhu sangha and we're practicing under the guidance of high-class Vaishnavas, high-class guru, realized guru, then it's possible that we can become free from all anarthas that we've been carrying for many millions of births, this lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. So actually, then by hearing, Gurudev said, by hearing pastimes, by hearing Leela, all very sweet pastimes from Guru, by hearing all Tattva Siddhanta, what will happen? That all anarthas will be taken from the heart, bhav will manifest in the heart, and gradually we will attain prem, we can attain Radha Dasham. This is possible, maybe not in this life, maybe not next life, but in few lives, if we practice very sincerely. And Gurudev said that actually, if we hear Hari Katha, then something wonderful, something miraculous will take place in our heart. Actually, that Hari Katha must enter our heart. Gradually, it will destroy all anarthas in the heart, and this mood, at least a greed will come in the heart to attain what Gurudev was giving. So Gurudev said, please, at least develop a greed to hear Harikatha. He said, you cannot please me by anything, neither by money, by praise. I have so much praise. People are praising me all the time, and now I'm tired of it. Gurudev said one time. So what will please Gurudev the most is if we hear his Harikatha and take one drop of that Harikatha into our heart and try to realize what he is giving. So Gurudev said, we have come from many places around the world. We would go to Vrindavan, we would go to Navadvip, we would go and follow Gurudev around the world in different countries, only for this, only that we can take one drop of what Gurudev's giving into our heart and try to realize that, because in realizing that, then we can attain this very high goal, this very rare goal, Radha Dasham. So this is what Gurudev came to give, and we pray on this day that somehow or another we can attain one drop of Gurudev's mood. Just one drop. And Gurudev said, I'm not asking anything from you, actually. Only thing you can give is if you just give me one tear or one or two tears every day. Just cry for this. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, this is a crying school. Our sadhana bhakti is to simply cry, to attain Gaura Prem, to attain love for Gurudev, to attain this bhav bhakti. This is the goal. Sadhana bhakti is not real sadhana bhakti unless our aim and objective is to attain bhav, to attain bhav bhakti. So we pray on this day that we can fix our goal, like Gurudev would always say, that we must fix our goal and strive in our every endeavor of our sadhana, hearing, chanting, remembering, to attain this goal. And in this way, we can please Gurudev and receive his blessings, receive his mercy. So on this day, I'm begging Gurudev that please give me one drop of your mood, please give me some greed in my heart to attain this, what you were endeavoring so much to give. Jai Shri Gurudeva Ki Jai. Vanchakapadrubhishta Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Then now we will hear from Jai Shri.
So about the sound effect.
Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmati Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī iti namani. Vanchakalpadurvasya Prasannaja Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So,
Put the mic closer.
okay. So, once Umadidi spoke saying that it is our duty, our responsibility as disciples to speak at least once or twice a year in honor of our Gurudev. And so even though I personally don't like to speak, or I'm too shy to speak publicly, I at least try to speak on the appearance and disappearance day of my Srila Gurudev, because this is pleasing to my Gurudev and pleasing to the Vaishnavas. So I just wrote a few notes, but in the song that Damodar sang earlier, Jaya Jaya Shri Guru, the second stanza, it says, the translation says, his eyes are the abode of bliss. When Srila Gurudev would look at so just that stanza, his eyes are the abode of bliss. So if anyone has looked directly into Gurudev's eyes, they can understand this clearly. He has the most amazing gaze, either with sweetness or with strict sternness and instructions. He speaks a million words through his gaze and can impart so much mercy and sweetness. And it's pretty amazing, almost mystical in a way. Just having a full conversation with Gurudev just through your eyes. There's many times where I just look at Gurudev and he looks directly at me, and it's like I didn't need to say anything. And he was like also giving so much like Shakti through his eyes. And this is so amazing. So I actually really love that bhajan for that particular line. It's like everyone can understand that. And I feel so fortunate and so unfortunate at the same time. So fortunate that I was able to have so much personal interactions with Gurudev at such a young age, in that I had a relationship that was very full of sweetness instead of full of Aishwarya. And I would just run up to Gurudev. When I was younger, Gurudev had a lot of more opportunities to see him personally, go into his room, speak to him. There was less devotees around, so there was less of a crowd. And so there were so many opportunities where I would just run up to Gurudev and just say, "Oh, Gurudev, I chanted this many rounds today," or, and that was my interaction with Gurudev, because I was just a little girl and I didn't have that awe and reverence relationship with Gurudev at that time. But for me, that's such a sweetness, and I'm so fortunate for that. But what I also realize is now, as I'm getting older, how much I may have took that for granted and not taken up more seriousness, like as so many devotees who came maybe a little bit older, they were already more mature, so when they were listening to Harikatha, they were able to absorb it in a different way than I was. And so I feel like I may have lost some of that, and I feel like now, as I go back and I read his books or listen to his lectures, it's almost like hearing it like new, even though I was there for that particular lecture, and I can take it in a different way. And so I feel very fortunate and unfortunate in that way. One of Gurudev's personal instructions to me was to read his books. And I was quite young, maybe 16, when I asked Gurudev for Diksha, and he said no. He said, no, I'll give you Gopal Mantra, and you read my books. So that year I started reading Gurudev's books more seriously, and I started with the first ones that were published in English. So Going Beyond Vaikuntha and yes, exactly, Prabandhavali, like the early ones, Shishakshakam and everything like that. And as I was reading through them, it was almost like I could hear Gurudev speaking, like giving the lecture out loud, his voice, his intonation and everything. And I realized that Gurudev's instruction was how important it was to go back and listen again to those lectures as a little bit older and take in those instructions more seriously. And how inspiring it was. Actually, many times Gurudev would come up to me and he said, do you have any question for me? Do you want to ask me anything? You can always ask me anything. And this was multiple times. This was not just once or twice. Almost every time I would see him, he would say, do you have any questions for me? And this was, I see now, a way of gauging how much I was paying attention or listening to his lectures, because if I was listening or trying to take in his Harikatha, then I may have had more questions. And so I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I have to think of a question, because next time when he asks me, then I'll be like, I have this question. But all the questions I could think of, I already knew the answer to. So I was like, okay, not that one. How do I come up with a question? So, but I realized what he wanted me to do was to delve in deeper. So then I actually had questions to ask. And so I feel like I was a little unfortunate in that instance that I missed out on that part. But in the sense, I can still ask Gurudev questions and I can still get answers. Gurudev has also said that you can always ask me questions, and even if I'm not physically present. So, and there had been some times where I had questions in the past, and I was reading maybe Śrīmad Bhagavatam or whatever book it was at the time, and whatever question that had been going through my mind, the answer actually came up in the book. And so I realized that I still have this opportunity to keep on reading and coming up with questions for Gurudev. And I would like to focus more again on this instruction, reading his books. And so I pray that I can absorb myself more in his Harikatha and his associate with him through this. And I hope I can please my Gurudev by following his instructions. So that's all. Panchakalpatarubhasya Kripisnivyo Vaishnavevyo Namaha. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Devi. We'll now hear from Ananjali Devi.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Pyatmane Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Gauraprishtaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivigyan Bharati Namine Om Jnanantamrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So I just need to put a disclaimer that I really didn't think about speaking today. But Prabhuji was looking at me and I said no and he said yes. So I think he's a black belt, so he wins. Anyway. Yeah. I just, all I can think about is that throughout my life, since, okay, done. I'm just kidding. No, but throughout my life since I was a child, very young, maybe toddler, when Srila Gurudev came, he came to Shāranagati in 1996. Just everything in his life is like, or in my life, his presence in my life has been like rays of sun, or the moon, cooling, brightening, giving color, giving life. I remember when I was like not a toddler, like maybe 6, 7, 8, I forget how old, one of his sannyasis speaking in Canada in Shāranagati, and first time I ever listened to a class, like wow, Govardhan, Radha and Krishna is so interesting. Everything was more beautiful, and like I think even not seeing Gurudev at that exact time period, I thought he was gonna come stay actually at our house. There was this talk of this idea where like he will use this rocking chair, but anyway, didn't end up coming for some reason. But it was like, it feels like a lotus too, Gurudev's like, just even his praying particles, and anyway, sorry, not prepared. Yeah, just, you know, through his devotees, like I could see so many people I know, their hearts changing, and anyway, he came in 2008, and I had very brief interaction with Gurudev, like once maybe when I was a baby, and anyway, so little I don't even want to say. But, you know, he took my brother, and then later, near the end of his pastimes, I don't know, I don't think he took me yet, but he threw the rope, and in a very mystical, merciful way gave me Harinam, like that song Jai Jai Shri Guru says, like we don't ask for how can we know, you know. I've heard even Srila Prabhupada said, like, or Gurudev said about Srila Prabhupada coming to the West, you cannot call him, he came, you know. They're sent to us, you know, by Krishna himself. Yeah, Gurudev's really the embodiment of mercy through Mahaprabhu. And yeah, I'm not crying because I have any love for Gurudev, it's just nervousness. Yeah, just being here is Gurudev's mercy. Having gone to Vrindavan and spent time in Vrindavan is Gurudev's mercy. It took so long for me to go to Vrindavan or here. Sorry. Took me so long. I really wanted to go a long time ago when I had different obstacles and lack of sukriti, but it's the power of like Gurudev's words saying like don't give up, don't lose hope. I heard one lecture that was so powerful, I want to find it, where Gurudev got the whole entire audience to say like repeat after me, and he said, I will not be hopeless, and he got everyone to repeat that. And yeah, so I just pray. I think I want to hear from so many seniors. Like I said, also I had such little association, so I always feel like, I don't know if it's Ramanujacharya or Madhvacharya or something. He came late and he just got all the mercy of all the disciples, so I always pray for that. And yeah, so I want to hear from everyone else, and I just pray, like Jai Shri Didi said, to be able to really understand Gurudev's Zavani, what he gave us, like he gave us so much, like so deep, and I don't know any of it, but I just know it's really, really great and powerful and astonishing. And anytime I do start to learn something, it's just like totally mind-blowing. Prabhupada gave it all, and Gurudev just gave it all, and even in a way I feel like he even made it easier. He said, like, this is the most important. Like, if you don't want to read the whole book, you could just read the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Well, of course you should read the whole book, all the books. So yeah, I pray to one day start to learn something and be able to share more and be a true disciple of Gurudev. I don't even want to say I don't feel like I'm a true disciple, but I pray to one day be, and I know that he's accepted me, so that's my greatest fortune in my whole life. So Jai Shri Gurudev. Jai Vanchakalpatruvyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo.
Thank you, Mayapur. I'm now here for
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Vishnupadaya Shri Radhika Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audauja Madhurya Ganashuktam Param Baranyam Prasham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Sirasadamami Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. First of all, I would like to, today I heard a lecture and Srila Gurudev said that he said, I offer my heartfelt Dandavat Pranams to his Gurudev, and I thought, oh, I like that. I want to offer my heartfelt Dandavat Pranams to my Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Srila Gurudev, and unto our Guru Varga. Also in this lecture he said that Guru is not independent, that they are completely submissive and connected to Guru Varga. So they are not independent, so we want to become like this, not independent, but completely dependent upon them. And so I offer my obeisances to our beautiful Rupanuga Guru Varga, all the assembled devotees, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Thank you for having me sit here and hopefully not waste too much of your time. I have been pressured to sit here and speak, and I realize that it's my duty to do that. Unfortunately for you, I am not a very learned person, but I did have the opportunity to meet Srila Gurudev from a pretty young age. It was nice hearing my sister Jayashree describe. She was younger than me, but I don't know, maybe only in age. That was always my experience with Srila Gurudev too. I feel like so much of my time with him, I was just a child or a teenager, and I didn't have any thoughts. In fact, I used to tell him, I would say, Gurudev, I don't know why I'm here. I don't really want to be a devotee. But I like you. And we had that relationship with Srila Gurudev that we could go to him because, it was quieter back in those times, and Gurudev was always like that, just so natural. We could just go and be in front of him. And he had time and energy for all great, people who would come in, and great Vaishnavas and everyone, and even just silly children and teenagers. So Gurudev is so merciful. What do I want to say? I feel like everybody can, Charachandrika Didi, she gave such a good class describing so many things that Gurudev gave to us. And really Gurudev has given us everything. What I'm trying to practice personally is trying to develop, like Charachandrika Didi was saying, we have to really take shelter of what Gurudev, of Harikatha and also of Sadhu Sangha, and with this then we can go on and develop our Krishna consciousness. But also we have to, Gurudev really stress that we have to chant. We have to create relationship. We have to make this effort every day. And so I'm really trying hard to chant. And so my meditation has really been on how Trinadapi Sunichena is so important and integral to this whole path, but definitely for chanting. Without this mood that I want to receive no honor for myself and only give honor to everyone else according to their level, and really understanding and imbibing that. And also at the same time, Gurudev said that we can't really do this. This is not like a mood that we put on. We don't put on this mood of humility. But actually humility is our soul's nature. It's there, but we have to cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves. So through the process of chanting, we're purifying ourselves and becoming closer to our true nature. But we also have to meditate upon these words. I really like the song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. Actually, Gurudev came to my house once, a long time ago, and he explained this song. But it's such a deep song, so beautiful. And just also, this is everything that I want to share. It just seems so obvious, but anyhow, it's where I'm at. In Shikshastakam, Gurudev is saying, leading up to it, he's describing one part of the Shikshastakam verse, but he says, on the other hand, the Vaishnavas, who are forever dedicated to the worship of the holy name, are even humbler than a blade of grass. They are more tolerant than a tree, and while remaining indifferent towards their own prestige, they are always eager to offer respect to others. And being with Srila Gurudev, and when we hear about and have the opportunity to associate with such high class of devotees, this is the feeling that you can feel their true nature, that it's so present, and so you become enveloped with this beautiful saffron particles of their humility and pure devotion, pure love. And my prayer is that Srila Gurudev, please give me your mercy. Without your mercy, there's no other way. That someday my heart can also become like that, and I can feel close to you. On this day, I pray to Srila Gurudev for this. Please make me more humble than a blade of grass, and please make me more tolerant. And please, all the devotees here, please bless me also, that I can become like this. So give me your service and give me your chastisements, and please teach me so that I can become humble and my heart can become clear, and I can also progress and make my Srila Gurudev happy and pleased. Jai Srila Gurudev.
Thank you, Madhavi Devi. Are there any other direct disciples of Srila Gurudev who would like to speak? I guess I'll go. I won't take it. Jnanamrithamrandasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Shri Radhika Priyapane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sadakshamadharya Madhuri Ganesha Kambaranam Purisham Mahantam Nārāyaṇam Tvam Shivaka Namami. Makam karoti vachalam pangan langaite garim yat kripa tamam vande Shri Gurundina Karinam. Jai. That might be my cue to get off. I was meditating on what to talk about today. I remember traveling with Srila Gurudev and him telling us all that Vyas Puja is not just about the glorification of your direct Guru, but actually a glorification of the Guru Parampara. And to understand that Sri Guru is inseparable from our Guru Parampara and represents his Akhand Guru Tattva. I was thinking of a particular experience that I had with him, and I may or may not talk about that, but I was very inspired to hear the different Vaishnavis speaking about Srila Gurudev in such beautiful ways and expressing their personal interactions with him. And when I was younger and in ISKCON, I was very fortunate that I was able to see Srila Gurudev when you could just walk into his room and there would be nobody there. The calendar would be flapping on the wall behind him and he'd be sat on the bed and I'd just go and sit in his room and just look at him. And you know, sometimes he would speak to me, sometimes not, and I would just watch devotees coming in and out, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about, but just watching him, the way that he would move and the way that he would interact with the devotees and the way that they would interact with him, and you could see that there was so much love there. And I experienced that myself in the sense that Gurudev was often very playful with me, and he was also very heavy sometimes. And I noticed, I couldn't help but notice, even in my dull state, that after I took initiation from him, things got real heavy when he was starting to teach me. And I remember even once that when I went to Mathura while I was still in ISKCON, and I sat, Gurudev was sat outside his room. This time it was on the lower floor at Keshavaji Gaudiya Math, and he sat on a chair outside his room, and he was sitting chanting. There was a few devotees there, some devotees from the west that I knew, and he invited me to come and sit down. So we sat down and Gurudev pulled out his mala and said, okay, now we'll chant together. And so we chanted a whole round together. He was looking at us and we were looking at him. And he said, so now, from now on, when you're chanting Harinam, when you're taking Harinam in the morning, remember, I am sat right next to you and we are chanting together. You should always remember this. It was a really, really beautiful, very poignant moment. And in contrast to that, when I took Diksha from Srila Gurudev, after I'd officially left ISKCON, I was in Mathura, and somehow or other I was the only person in the room that was taking Diksha at that time. And I still had a Brahmin thread on from when I was in ISKCON. And it was fashionable at the time to have a really thick one. So I had this thick Brahmin thread on. And as Gurudev was explaining the mantras, he noticed my Brahmin thread in my kurta, and he stuck his finger in my kurta and pulled it out. And he said, oh, you've been catching cows? And so at such a grave moment, he broke off, you know, giving me this beautiful meditation and to lighten the mood with some joking. And in contrast to that, not long after that, I was on tour with him, and it was the first class that he was doing in Singapore. I think you were there, Mahārāja. Yeah. And Gurudev, all the devotees were assembled. It was a packed room. And Gurudev told me, come over here and sit down. And he made Madhav Maharaj and Prem Prayojan move and me sit right in front of him, in between them. That was already nerve-wracking enough. And then he said, sing Gauranga Balate Habe. So I started to sing Gauranga Balate Habe and started sweating, because I was really nervous, like profusely sweating. And I sang the bhajan, and Gurudev said, are you sick? And I said, no, Gurudev, I'm nervous. He said, he wasn't interested. He said, stand up, explain this song. So then I started sweating even more. If I could even sweat more, I was looking at Gurudev, and he was looking at me with such intensity that it felt like he would just dry me completely out and I'd turn into like a pile of ashes on the floor. And so, as I'd seen devotees before, they would just get the songbook and paraphrase, you know, what Narottam Das Thakur, you know, has said. And so I was doing that, and Gurudev stopped me halfway. He said, I know what Narottam Thakur is saying. What do you say? Yeah. That's exactly, whatever you're feeling right now, that's exactly how I felt. And I sort of went blank. And he could have asked me my name and I wouldn't have been able to give it to him. And I stood there for what seemed like an eternity. And Gurudev said, he interrupted me while I was sort of thinking about what to say. I was really trying to paraphrase a class that Gurudev had already given a couple of years before on Gauranga Balaté Habe, and I was really making a mess. And Gurudev just interrupted me, and he said, "We're calling out his names, but these symptoms of sattvic abhav are not coming. Why not?" I didn't know how to answer that question. And eventually, I just looked at Gurudev and I was really trying to think, why are these sattvic abhavs not coming? And I was just looking at Gurudev trying to somehow conjure up some answer. I looked at Prem Prayoja and he blanked me completely. I looked at Madhav Maharaj for help, nothing. And eventually Gurudev just took pity on me and said, "Sit down." And then so I sat down, and as I sat down, and you can relate with this, Damodar Prabhu, he said, "Useless." And so for 26 years, even though there's been interactions with Gurudev like that in between, for 26 years, for some reason, it really stuck with me. Why did Gurudev ask me to explain that song? It's such a deep song. And in a lot of ways, it's, 4 verses, 5 verses, very simple. But the meaning is so deep. And I was considering it. And I was considering that just like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta once wrote, he said that the Guru, let me see, I've got it here, I won't make a mess of that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that the real sadhu makes us speak out what we keep concealed in our hearts. He then applies the knife. So it was very interesting, I thought, that why he would ask me to explain that. Why did he want to know what my understanding of Gauranga Balaté Habe was? Obviously because of not because of any erudition on my part. But he just wanted to know, what is my understanding of Krishna consciousness? Before that, when I was in ISKCON, my practice was very regular, very disciplined, consistent, and I was a little proud about that. And basically Gurudev was calling me out, yes, but what's really going in? What do you really understand? Are you feeling anything? And I have to confess that I think probably not too much. And it that was one of the things that I always thought was so amazing about Srila Gurudev, was that he could give such high tattva and speak so many shlokas and so much siddhanta. I was fortunate sometimes that my previous guru in ISKCON was part of the GBC that were going to see Srila Gurudev. And sometimes I would hear from them what Gurudev was talking about, and it was completely mind-blowing. There are some of those lectures and some of the transcripts of those lectures that online. You can read them. Incredible. And yet, at the same time, he was also so sweet. And it reminded me so much of when the disciples of Srila Prabhupada would speak about him, that he also had that quality of, on the one hand, being the acharya and being very tattvik, but yet at the same time would also be extremely sweet and very personable with his disciples, either in sweetness or in chastisement. Sweetness either way. And for 26 years I've been contemplating this question and thinking about what does Gauranga Balaté Habe mean to me. And so I did write a little bit about what my answer would be, but I think I'll leave that for another time, and I'll speak to Srila Gurudev personally about that. But I would like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to glorify Srila Gurudev on this day. Like Jayashree was saying, it's a mix. That on the one hand we can still communicate with Srila Gurudev and our relationship can still become deeper and deeper, yet I would give anything to be in his association again. And I pray, and I pray to you all to please bless me, that in some form, in some life, that I can take the dust of his feet and actually take into my heart what he has wanted to give to us all and make it a reality in my life. So, Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripasindhubhyo Vacha Pritnam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Are there any other Diksha disciples of Srila Gurudev that would like to speak? Anybody? Maharaj?
So there's no Mayapur. I just asked Maharaj if he wants to speak in the mic.
Yeah.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarani. Namam Vishnupadaya Radhikayai Priyatmani Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Nārāyaṇa iti namani. Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audaurya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirasha Namani. Shri Dandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Shah Shri Krishna Padabja Dritaika Hridi Chaitanya Lilamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tishe Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki. Tadiya Avirbhav Mahamahotsav Titi Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande. Louder. Gaur Premanande. So first of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful, beloved Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful, beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Gosvāmī Mahārāja and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas, to all the Vaishnavis, to all my Shri Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and in this assembly to the Sannyasi Gan, and all the senior disciples and Vaishnavas in this assembly. Please accept my humble obeisances. So, we are very fortunate. What I hear today from the devotees, how they have expressed their good fortune, even as children or adults, having come into direct association of a pure, exalted, Uttam Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. It is extremely rare in this world. So all the devotees who are sitting here, whoever is your guru, whatever line you're coming in the Gaudiya Math, so many different great Vaishnavas, disciples of Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. There's so many different lines now. Krishna consciousness movement is really expanding in all directions. And especially my Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he has planted the seed all over the world. Amazing pastime. How he took this message by the order of his Guru Maharaj. Gurvagyam Shirishi Dharyam Shakti Avesha Swarupane Hare Krishneti Mantrena Paschatya Prachya Tarane. He took the Agya, the order of his Guru, on his head. And what did he do? The whole story is there. You can read his life history. You can read all the accounts, all the memories of the devotees who met him in the early days in the Western countries. How everything began. But this was predicted by who? Lord Nityananda. Who else? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this Krishna consciousness movement is now expanding all over the world, and especially with the aid of the new technologies that have come into vogue in the last, 20 years now, like the internet and so forth. So the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has gone to all the different countries of the world, all over the world. And many, many people have begun to embrace this process of Harinam Sankirtan. What kind of people do that? What kind of people will take up the chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this Nam Sankirtan? It is told in Shastra that those who have Yajantihi Sumedhasha. Sumedhasha means very good intelligence. Sumedhasha. Krishna Varnam Trisa Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Samkirtana Prayaya Yajantihi Sumedhasha. Those who have Sumedhasha, very good brain substance. Prabhupada used to say brain substance. Good intelligence. They're the ones that will come to this movement, and they will embrace this movement, and they will begin to chant the holy names of Krishna. Which holy names? Hare Krishna! Bolo! Krishna! Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! So auspicious. And it doesn't matter if someone is struggling. Everyone will struggle. You know that? You cannot come onto this pathway without struggling. Why? Because it's a purification process. Cheto darpanam marjanam. That's the first symptom. That the mirror of our heart, it'll become clean. So that what? So that we can have realization. So that we can understand even who we are. My Guru Mahārāja, Srila Prabhupada, if any of you take the time to listen to his lectures, there's many hundreds, I forget exactly how many lectures. I'm listening to them. I'm listening to his first lectures even, given in 1966 in New York, first recorded lectures. Astonishing how he presents this philosophy. And what does he stress to everyone? He stresses Bhagavad Gita. Because why? Because unless someone hears the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and they begin to understand what his message to us is, and what we should do, how we can realize who we are, what we are, where we have come from, what is this world, everything is there. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, descended to explain this to the jivas. For how long? For the whole rest of these yugas now. This Bhagavad Gita actually is eternal. So Srila Prabhupada, he gave this message. And if you will see how many times he had to tell the simple philosophy that Krishna is giving so that we can know who we are. So that we can know what we are. Because you cannot enter into bhakti unless you know what you are. I always tell devotees that I meet about my own story, growing up in America, in a Christian family, going to a Christian school, hearing biblical philosophy, not even philosophy, just the Bible, and the stories of Jesus and so forth. So hearing this, did I get the answers to my questions? No. And one time I asked my teacher, can you please tell? I was like, this is after 8 years of all hearing again and again and again the story of Jesus and everything. And I said, can you just tell me what the soul is? To my teacher. Because we're hearing this word soul. The soul goes here, the soul. But my intelligence was beginning to inquire, what is this soul? That we have a soul. So I asked him, what is the soul? If we have a soul, what is it? And then he said, well, the soul is something that God gave to us to bring us to Him after we die. It didn't answer my question. No. Something. See? So the whole world today is completely in ignorance. The whole world. All the big politicians, all the big controllers of nations, and all throughout the world, wealthy people, they're all in complete, absolute ignorance because they don't even know what they are, who they are. So when I first heard the explanation from a devotee of Krishna that I met back in 1970, when I first heard the explanation from Bhagavad Gita, what is the soul? And he quoted the simple verse from Shri Krishna, Dehi nosmin yata dehi, komaram yovanam jara, tata dehantara praptir, diris tatra namuhyati. If you don't want to be bewildered, in ignorance, then you have to understand this simple truth, that you're always changing your body, but you are remaining the same. This is so fundamental and necessary for someone to get a grasp of this. So everyone here in this room has been extremely fortunate, because in our lives, we have heard this philosophy and we have understood the thing that Prabhupada would repeat again and again and again and again and again in hundreds and hundreds and thousands of lectures. And what is that? You're not this body. You're not this body. And every time that he expresses that, every time that he expresses it in a new, fresh way. That is the amazing thing. You never become tired of hearing because it's transcendentally fully realized. So I'm starting with this point. Why? Because our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj, had intimate relationship with our Srila Prabhupada. This is the reason why he came and traveled all over the world. This is the reason why. Because Srila Prabhupada requested him to help his disciples. In his final days in 1977 in Vrindavan, I was also there at that time, and we were going into Prabhupada's room every day just before he departed, maybe the last 5 or 6 weeks before he left this world. And when Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj came, he sat by Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada requested him, please help my disciples. Please help. And Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj, he was actually a little hesitant. You know that? You've heard this before? He hesitated a bit. He didn't say at that time, but later on he explained why he hesitated. And I'm telling why he hesitated, he told. He said, because at that time, all the disciples that were with Srila Prabhupada, they had so much surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. They had such Guru Nishta, very, very strong Guru Nishta. He said, like thunderbolt. He was very impressed with these Western Vaishnavas who had come. They'd been trained by Srila Prabhupada. They'd done so much service, preaching, and enabling this movement to spread throughout the world. So he was thinking, how can I help them? That's what Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj was thinking. They're so strong in their Guru Nishta. But then he told, in course of time, as I began to watch, then I understood, oh, so many of them are falling down now. So many of them are leaving the process. Even big sannyasis, even gurus, even like this. So then he began to understand, okay, now I understand why Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, why he requested me to help his disciples. But when he was hesitating in front of Srila Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was lying there in his bed, Prabhupada noticed his hesitation and he took his hands. He took Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj's hands in his hands. He said, please give me your word. You will help. And then he said, yes, I will help. Whenever they will come to me, I will help them. Until my last breath, I will help. And that's exactly what took place. After some years, then Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj became the go-to person for the ISKCON devotees, the followers of Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON leaders and so forth, to hear from him, to have him explain the books of our acharyas, right? They would come and they, can you please tell us, how can we understand this book, Harinam Chintamani? Or how can we understand this book, Vilapa Kusumanjali, and so forth. So, and then for a period of about 5 or 6 years, in Mathura Mat, Keshavji Gaudiya Mat in Mathura, Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj hosted these senior devotees coming to him. What did he tell them? He told them that what there is not time to tell for Srila Prabhupada, because the devotees had come to a certain level, to a certain point at that stage in their understanding, in their practice and so forth. Now the next installment was required. Now the next installment was what? Coming into the pathway of Rag, Marg, Bhakti. That was something that was not, Prabhupada did not have so much time to explain that in the time that he was present. Rag, Marg, Bhakti. What is Rag, Marg, Bhakti? It's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. That's what Mahaprabhu came to give. I'm trying to remember that shlok. Where is? What? No, what's the beginning? Beginning. Yes, Prem Ras Niryas Korite Asvadan. Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. So Prem Ras Niryas Korite Asvadan. What does that mean? That means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down into this world to do what? To taste the essence of Prem Ras. For his own purposes. This is a very broad subject. This is a very vast subject matter when we try to understand the reasons for Mahaprabhu's descent into this world. Why did he descend? And if we read Chaitanya Charitamrita beginning chapters, then we will understand that there were internal reasons and there were also external reasons. Both were there. Internal and external reasons. Or primary reasons and secondary reasons. But this one shloka gives the essence. Prem Ras Niryas Korite Asvadan. That Mahaprabhu came to taste. Asvadan means to taste. So Prem Ras Niryas means the essence of Prem Ras. Mahaprabhu, who is the combination of Krishna and Srimati Radhika. If someone does not clearly understand that, then they cannot fully understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's why this is given in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Prem Ras Niryas Korite Asvadam. But what was the other purpose of Mahaprabhu's descent? Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. He came to preach, to broadcast the message of what? Rag Marg Bhakti. Not the pathway of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. No. That was not what he came to give, although it has to be given. But that's not the ultimate thing that Mahaprabhu came to give to the jivas. He came to give entrance into Goloka Braj. Only in Goloka Braj is there Rag Marg Bhakti. Not in Vaikunta, not in Dwarka, not in the places where the Aishwarya mood is predominating. Only in Braj. And that is why, when we understand what was Mahaprabhu's main thoughts, I'm trying to remember that shloka again, the other, Huh? No. That Mahaprabhu worshipped who? Which Krishna did he worship? He worshipped the son of Mahārāja Nanda. What is the first line in that verse? Aradhyo Bhagavan Prajesha Tanayas Tadhama Brindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Yakalpita Śrīmad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. And then what is it? Matamidam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatradaro Naparaha. That means this is the matam. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is what his thought processes are. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam. And besides this, Tatradaro Naparaha. There does not exist anything else. That to worship who? Which Krishna? Not Dwarkadish Krishna, not Vishnu, not any of the Vishnu forms, not the Narayan forms, not even Mathuresh Krishna. Only the son of Mahārāja Nanda in Braj. That is Mahaprabhu's full absorption. Why? Why is it his full absorption? Because who is he? He's Śrīmati Radhika. He has now become Śrīmati Radhika. He has taken the bhav of Śrīmati Radhika and the kanti, the golden color of Śrīmati Radhika, and now he has descended into this world to taste prem ras and to bring all the jivas to Goloka Vrindavan. No other place. Srila Prabhupada said in his teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, he has a express train. You know, express train doesn't stop along the way. It just goes direct. If you're on a regular train, then you have to stop. But the express train, this is the express train to Goloka Vrindavan, nowhere else. So, Ramya Kachidupasana. Who are the worshippers of that Krishna? The son of Mahārāja Nanda who lives eternally in Goloka Vrindavan. Who are the highest worshippers of him? Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Yakalpita. These Vrajavadhus, these Brajagopis, who are all mostly expansions of Śrīmati Radhika herself. No one has worshipped Krishna in a higher way than them. They are the supreme worshippers of that Krishna. Yakalpita. Śrīmad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. Oh, I forgot that Krishna, where does he live? He lives in Tadhama Brindavanam. He lives in Vrindavan. He never leaves Vrindavan. He never leaves. He's never left for all of eternity, and for all of eternity he will never leave Vrindavan. Oh, but I thought that Krishna left Vrindavan on the chariot of Akrura, and then he went to Mathura and all of this. No. You don't understand the philosophy. You don't understand the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Only his expansion goes and does various necessities, various work and duties and so forth. And the Vasudeva form of Krishna had very many duties to perform, because one of the main duties that he had to perform was to rid the world of the demoniac military forces. Yes, to lighten the burden of the earth planet, Mother Bhumi. But he also had so many other things to accomplish. There is a very wonderful book by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, and it's called Śrīmad Bhagavatam, not the essence of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, what is it called? Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam. Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam. It's taken from his lectures, some of his early lectures when he came to the West. And there he explains like a whole list of reasons why Krishna descended into this world. But they are not the ultimate reason. The ultimate reason that Krishna descended into this world is to display his supreme pastimes, especially the Mahalila of Ras Lila, which no one else could display. Only he. No other form of the Lord. Yes, Baladev also danced Ras Lila, but not in the way that Krishna did. He danced with his own gopis. And who is Baladev? He's actually Krishna. He's the only other person that can dance Ras Lila. So, that pastime of Ras Lila is the essence of this personality, the son of Mahārāja Nanda, the son of Mother Yashoda, Yashoda Nandan Krishna. And he came to display that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the same exact Krishna, son of Mahārāja Nanda, he came to taste and also to distribute the essence of the nectar of all of this rasic pastimes of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to introduce everyone to the pathway of Rag Marg Bhakti. That's all. So what did Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj do in his travels throughout the world for 15 years? Some of us were very lucky to have spent a lot of that time with him as he traveled all around the whole world. And what was the basis of his presentation? The basis of most all of his Harikatha and presentations was Śrīmad Bhagavatam. He would quickly go through the first 9 cantos in like 10 minutes, and immediately he would come to the 10th canto. And then, depending on the audience of the devotees, whether they were very full of younger devotees or devotees of old senior, that was how he would gauge what he will speak exactly. But Srila Gurudev, ultimately, he wanted to come to the point of explaining the extreme separation moods that were experienced by the Brijvasis when Krishna, so-called, externally left Vrindavan, and which were experienced especially by the Brajagopis, and ultimately which were experienced only by one gopi, and that is Srimati Radha Thakurani, who is the divine essence of what? Of Mahabhav Prem. Her body is made of Mahabhav Prem. Krishna's body is composed of rasa. But Srimati Radhika's body, if you want to say body, her essence, her very being is composed of what? Mahabhav. Mahabhav Swarupini, Srimati Radharani. Anyone that has associated with Srila Nārāyaṇa Maharaj, they can understand how deeply immersed and how deeply permeated with all of these moods as he spoke his katha. Especially a lot of devotees that have spoken, they saw him in the place where he pretty much reserved for his highest Harikatha, and that is in New Vraj, Badger, California in America. And the devotees who came and experienced that, watching Gurudev, hearing him, and then they would perform different dramas. Gurudev encouraged them. And some of them were young girls, then they grew up a little more. For 15 years they were doing these dramas, and now their daughters and sons are doing these dramas. I think it's 30-year anniversary or something, isn't it? Yeah. And this will go on for centuries to come, into the future. But it was a very special thing to see Srila Gurudev watching the dramas and relishing and tasting them. And Gurudev often told that what I'm speaking, these dramas, they should emphasize and they should make them understandable. What I spoke, the dramas should exemplify that. And Srila Gurudev would be completely overwhelmed, weeping tears. So many times, almost every single time that he watched, he would be weeping, and then he would give his blessings to the devotees who were performing the dramas. So in this way, no one should think, I want to emphasize this because I'm coming to the end of my time, no one should think that they cannot meet this personality, Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Maharaj. No one should think. Oh yeah, but he's not physically here anymore. How can I meet him again? That's true. That is true. But do you know that there are two different types of presence of the pure devotees of Krishna? Did any of us meet Rupa Gosvāmī? Did any of us directly meet Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Did any of us meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati even? No, we never physically met. Why? Because that kind of meeting is the physical meeting with the pure devotee, which is very powerful and very auspicious. No doubt about it. And that is called vapu. Vapu means in the physical presence of such devotees. We will all have to have that in our life, and if not in this life, in another life. Every devotee, before they will attain the stage of bhav, they will have to have very, very high association with Mahabhagwat Vaishnavas, directly seeing them, hearing them, serving them. But why did the Goswamis write so many books? Why did all the acharyas in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami, why did they write so many books up to the present day? Because that presence is called Vani. Vani Sangha is more powerful than Vapu. How do we know that? Because many persons have had Vapu Sangha. And then after some time they gave it up and they wandered away back into the clutches of Maya Devi and so forth, okay? With Vapu. But if someone had very deep Vani Sangha with the pure devotees, and even if you didn't get it, you can still get it now. That's why they wrote their books. Srila Nārāyaṇa Raj wanted to give the next installments, what Srila Prabhupada didn't have time to give, which is basically all the books of the Goswamis, all the books of the disciplic succession, the Rupanuga Guru Varga, up to the present day. This is the message. And if we want Krishna consciousness, what is Krishna consciousness? Does it just mean the international society? No. Krishna consciousness movement is what? It is tasting the essence of Bhav Bhakti. To come to that point, that verse from Ramananda Roy. See, this is my memory going. You know, that where in Ramananda Roy Samvad he's telling about after Jnana Shunya Bhakti, then he tells this, that Prabhupada said, this is what I named the movement Krishna Consciousness. Yes, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Kriyatam api kutopi labhyate. Tattara lolyam api mulyam ekalam. Janmakoti sukritair na labhyate. So Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati, Srila Prabhupada told that he named his society Krishna Consciousness after this first line of this verse. What is Krishna Consciousness? It's Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. The Mati means like the awareness, the consciousness. But what are you becoming aware of? You're becoming aware of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. That's why Rupa Goswami gave Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's why Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Raj gave Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Because our whole movement is about tasting and preparing ourselves to advance so that when we hear really, truly deep Krishna Katha, it will have such a powerful effect on our heart. So we have to go step by step. And Gurudev also knew that he said, I thought that when I first came to the West, I would be able to focus, completely focus on all these things, you know, Krishna Bhakti Rasa, and the books of Goswamis, and all of that. But after about 3-4 years in the West, then he said, but now I'm realizing I will also have to cut jungles. Why? Because so many, hundreds, thousands of new jivas are coming into the pathway, and they require the beginning stages of instructions. But now the Krishna consciousness movement is coming up to the, what is it, like the 60th anniversary of Prabhupada being in the Western world, from 1965, and we're just passing 2025. So, yeah, isn't that 60 years? Yeah, 60 years in the West. So, what we have been given installments. Some of the installments are too much high for us. Srila Gurudev also spoke about that. I can even read it to you, but I don't have time to read it to you. But Gurudev also spoke about that. He said, most of you are not qualified, really, to hear these things. But I must speak these things. And he said, if these things are not spoken, if these things are not given, what things? What is he talking about? He's talking about all of these topics of very, very deep rasic moods of all the great acharyas, the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything, the whole Chaitanya Bhagavat even. All of these have been given now to us, but we will have to go step by step. We will have to adopt the process in our life. What is the process? Beginning with 16 rounds of the Mahamantra, as Prabhupada introduced it, beginning stages. 16 every day, following the 4 regulated principles. And we may think that's really, really elementary, but guess what? Without that, you can't enter Shuddha Bhakti. Not possible at all. Even if you have defects, even if you cannot really follow the process yet, but you continue to go forward, because there will always be difficulties along the way. But if someone sticks to this process, they will advance. And the proof is that the very first devotees who came to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada didn't know anything, 0 and less than 0. And when they were in his association, hearing, and chanting, then what started to happen? They began to understand what is Guru Tattva. And then began to serve Guru. And then they began to go all around the world and open up temples and so forth. You see? So, we have to go through the stages of bhakti. But Srila Gurudev also told, this is the last thing I'll tell. Gurudev said there's a very critical point that will come in every devotee's life. In every devotee's spiritual life, he used the word critical point. What is that critical point? The critical point is that you've given up these sinful activities and so forth, almost fully. Now you're following the process, you're chanting, you're studying the books, you're hearing from the Vaishnavas and so forth. You're trying to do the process of bhakti. But yet, there are still anarthas looming. There are still anarthas. You know what anarthas are? Yes, you do. Because everybody experiences that. And the anarthas are in different stages of diminishment. 5 different stages, the anarthas will all diminish. But we have to come into the process. We have to do bhajan kriya. Then anartha nivritti, we go through that process, and only then can we come to the stage of nishtha. And only in the stage of nishtha can we begin to truly immerse ourselves and become very attracted to these things. But what's needed even beyond that? In that same verse, Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyakram api kutopi labhyate tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. This is the only qualification. It is the only lolyam, greed, strong desire to have this in your life. And that doesn't come about by what? Even janma koti sukritayar nalabhyate. Even for hundreds of lifetimes of sukriti, it doesn't come. But what does it come from? It comes from sadhu sangha. That's why at the end of the list of 64 limbs of bhakti in Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, then there are 5 that are again almost like repeated. What is that? Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vasa, and Srimurtir Shraddhaya Sevan. These are the 5 most powerful processes in bhakti. So we should do them, but Gurudev said there will come a critical time when you have not yet heard this Braj Ras Katha and these topics that have been given by our Rupanuga Acharyas. And Srila Nārāyaṇa specifically came to inundate the world with this. And having not heard this, there will be some inability to surpass those anarthas that are now coming up. So Gurudev said this critical point, at which time some anarthas are still looming there, and they can then possibly drag you back. And he said, but if you have heard these topics and you are going in that direction, then you will become protected and you will become immersed in this nectar, and some little dawning of what? Of taste, of strong attraction. What is that called? Lolyam. That will come. And then, in that association, we will go through our lifetime always paying attention to that level of katha, because it's the most important and powerful medicine. That's why Śrīmad Bhagavatam gives 9 cantos, and the 10th canto is 90 chapters. Srila Prabhupada wanted to give the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10th canto with 30 volumes. So that's our real subject matter, okay? Is the 10th canto of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and then after that Chaitanya Charitamrita, okay? So this is our course. We're all in the course. We've all been given entrance into the university of all of these things. And now we have a curriculum that we have to follow. And we have to become serious. It doesn't happen without becoming serious. But how do you become serious? Because you realize and understand, I want this. This is so needed by me, and it's so wonderful. I want this nectar to go deep into my heart. And that is by the association of the Vaishnavas. So if someone has not had the physical association of Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Maharaj or our Srila Prabhupada or any of these great Vaishnavas, you can still get their association in their books. Believe me, you can get it. And I never saw Srila Prabhupada till after 1 year, because he wasn't giving initiations. He was in India when I first came to the movement. But did I meet Srila Prabhupada before I physically saw him? Yes. Because every day we were going out on the streets and chanting 6 hours a day, every single day, 6 hours a day, dancing and chanting. That's before they even knew how to distribute books. Then that was the second thing. But by that process, following this process, chanting, getting up early in the morning, going to Mangalarti, the whole process that is being followed by all the different Gaudiya Sampradayas, by following that process, very powerful purification came by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And I had his darshan in my heart. It's something that is somewhat inexplicable. But when you feel that in your heart, that you're having the darshan of such a personality, then you cannot mistake it at all. And then after about 11 months, then Srila Prabhupada returned to America, and the year that he was gone, from 1970 to 71, the movement expanded, like doubled or tripled in size. And all these devotees were at the airport when I saw Prabhupada in Detroit, waiting at the airport to see him for the first time. And that was the most amazing moment of my life. When Prabhupada, in the airport, walked through the door, we were chanting kirtan, and then everyone paid their obeisances, and every devotee was weeping and weeping. And then Prabhupada walked forward with his cane. He was smiling. He was so pleased that he had left America, and now he comes back, and it's just expanded, and all these new devotees are there. He was so pleased. And then Kirtanananda Swami, who was like one of the only sannyasis back then, he gave a garland to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada embraced him, and he began crying like a little boy. Then Bhagavan Prabhu, who started the Detroit temple, he came up and garlanded Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada embraced him, and he began weeping like a helpless little child. This is Prabhupada. These are the pure devotees. So we want them in our heart. We want to experience them. If you don't read their books, Prabhupada even made a statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Every member of the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been published. Then he began to say Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Or if they don't do that, then in course of time they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position, thus missing the opportunity of this fortunate human form of life. That's Prabhupada's direct statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When we read that, we said, uh-oh, Okay, we've got to read the books. So we don't have to become, not everyone can become scholarly. That's not the point. The point is we have to hear. Reading is also hearing. Reading is also hearing. And then once you've read, then you can tell someone else. And then that's also hearing. Hearing and chanting. So when this is the last thing, I said that 2 last things ago. Upadeshamrita, the essence. Srila Gurudev loved this one verse and he quoted all the time the 8th shloka. What is the 8th shloka of Upadeshamrita? Sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasini yojya Tishtan braje tadanuragi jananugami kalam nayed akilam iti upadesha saram. Kalam nayed akilam means all of your time. So in this life, we should come to that. We cannot do it now. Most devotees can definitely not do it now. But we have to strive towards that. That in this body, in this life, that we want to follow that 8th shloka where we're absorbed 24 hours a day in hearing, chanting, and remembering. Tanama, Rupa, Charitadi, Sukirtananu, and Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasini Yojya. Mind completely absorbed, tongue chanting the holy names, and in this way, living in Braj or Navadvip Dham, which is identical to Braj, then living in the holy Dham, and fully immersing oneself 24 hours a day. And this is Iti Upadesha Saram. So Gurudev came to give the essence of all advice. So in this way, we are very fortunate to be here on this day of Srila Gurudev's appearance day. Yeah, sorry about that. Just turn it off. You can just turn it off. Sorry. We're so fortunate to be here on this day. And I feel myself so fortunate to be in such a presence of all of the sincere devotees. I know most of you very well, and I've known many of you for many, many years. And I understand that your lives are fully auspicious and you are going forward in your spiritual lives. So I'm requesting that Gurudev, on this blessed appearance day, he should shower his causeless mercy on all of our heads, that one day we can actually come into this process fully in Rag Marg Bhakti, as Mahaprabhu came to give, and we can attain the highest position that is possible to attain in all of the creation. It may take another lifetime, another 2 lifetimes. Just turn the phone off. Turn the phone off. It may take another couple of lifetimes, but that's no problem, because Krishna is in our heart and He will lead us directly to where we should be, who we should associate with. So Gaur Premanande. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki. Srila Gurudev Abhirbhav Maha Mahotsav Titi ki. Srila Gurudev's Transcendental Vyas Puja Festival ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Śrīmad Bhagavatam Mahārāja ki.
So we'll have Guru Puja now. Yeah. Madhukarji, you can sing. You sing.
And I will we'll do Guru Puja.
Huh?
If we could, let's pull up these mattresses. And,
Oh, you can ask.
right here, or we can put them on the back.
Okay, that's a good idea. Oh.
I said I had to miss the whole class, all these
Bengali, like all these Gaudiya Math people.
Oh, you were out there talking to them?
No, I was serving them prasad.
Oh, giving them downstairs.
Yeah, because the Math and the prasad, they always have prasad like really promptly.
I know. They come for the prasad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I just brought them all downstairs and I served them all.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Otherwise, they would have been like really king.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's good that you did. Where's the phone? Huh? He has it? Haribol, you have my phone? What? Okay, but do you have my phone? Huh? Oh. Just tell office. Is this for Gurudev's Guru Puja?
Yes.
So we can offer it now? Go ahead. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Jai Jai Radha Jai Dhwani. Okay. Jai Gurudev.